Hey, what's happening, all my little ponies out there? I'm Duuz-Diz-Din, and I'm coming at you with another My Little Pony Friendship is Magic episode review. This time it's season 9, the last seasons, episode 14, titled The Last Laugh. And if you couldn't guess from that kind of a title, it is a Pinkie Pie centric episode. And not just that, there is a return guest in this as well, as all of the main six and Spike, except for Pinkie Pie, have been summoned by Pinkie Pie herself for a big announcement. And as she shows up, she is super uber excited because she wants to show her friends something. And at first, it seems like a casual cupcake, but it's actually an invitation to journey to cheese sandwiches, Laugh Factory, basically. This factory where he creates all these various jokes, goofs, and gags, and all that good stuff, which takes a few of them off guard because they wouldn't have thought someone like him would be really suited for doing factory work. He's more of a out there, ongoing pony. But in truth, Pinkie Pie also wants to use this as she personally feels that with Cheese Sandwich going off and creating this factory, she feels like the only one amongst her friends who hasn't actually found her own true purpose, which you know it's a crock, but it makes sense, and she even gives out examples. Twilight's future is to rule Equestria. Rarity has opened these series of boutiques all across Equestria. Rainbow Dash made her dream come true of joining the Wonderbolts. Fluttershy opened an animal sanctuary, and Applejack has always had her farm. That was always going to be her thing. But Pinkie still works temp at the Cakes bakery, so she wants to find her own thing to do for the rest of her life, basically. And she feels that maybe Cheese Sandwich will be able to point her in the right direction. So she wants to journey off and hopefully find the thing that she always was meant to do, what she was born for. And before she departs, Twilight makes it known that if nothing else, she should just rely on herself. She should really just rely on herself for the most part and everything that she has grown and come to know. Because ultimately, Cheese Sandwich can only help her so much. And so Pinkie travels to the factory, but once she gets there, the guards are a little bit hostile, which is the first sign that something isn't quite right here in a place called that is owned by Cheese Sandwich, the Pony of Parties. And she's able to show them their invitation, they let her in, and the factory seems a little bit cold. And when apparently Cheese Sandwich pops out and she's happy to greet him, it's actually Cheese Sandwich's business partner, Sand Smirk, which is a play on the words without a smile. And that's his whole character. His cutie mark's a wet blanket, for crying out loud. And while at first I originally thought he would be a more menacing character, in fact, his Mark is mostly just a very earnest character. He doesn't go for laughing out loud, but he's a very nice person in general, as he does his best to kind of study, develop, and improve on various gags they got from Cheese Sandwich. So when Pinkie goes in and explores the factory, it's not exactly what she was expecting. And, Sand Smirk lets it known that, yes, we develop everything here with the help of Cheese Sandwich. Despite its appearances, we do a lot of work to create all the latest in laugh technology, basically. And he shows off a squirting flower. But Pinkie Pie kind of elaborates on a potential gag for it, where instead of the flower squirting, the shirt itself starts to drip water, subverting expectations to create a bigger laugh. And that's Pinkie Pie's whole idea. It's just like, what if you did this weird twist that really kind of shook up the joke, made a better punchline? And Sans Mark is all about this. He starts jotting down all of her ideas for potential new inventions and creations. and they really start to pick at Pinkie Pie's brain, but it soon becomes clear that is Cheese Sandwich not the one really making all of your goofs, gags, and gaffs and all that good stuff? Isn't something wrong here? But, Sandsmart keeps kind of subverting ideas and trying to show different inventions, like this banana peel that forever slips and all this good stuff, and just causes all this havoc across the studio. But Pinky says that a more interesting direction would be to have it stick permanently, which would be hilarious. And so Sans finally shows Pinky to Cheese Sandwich, but it's obvious something is very wrong, because when Pinkie Pie says that she's, very happy to meet Cheese and hope that he can help her, it's Cheese who needs the help when it's discovered that Cheese Sandwich has lost his laugh. More specifically, he understands humor, but he can't find the strength within him to bring out a laugh. And despite Pinkie Pie's little effort here, nothing really comes out of Cheese. And for the most part, well, while Sans is introduced as someone that Cheese Sandwich expresses that, hey, this guy can really help to just bring out the full potential of any joke that I make. He's pretty much tapped out and the factory's gonna tank, and he's basically suffering at this point because there's nothing that she can really do at this point. And he thinks back to what he used to be able to do. He'd go from party to party, and whenever he saw sad party goers, he create these new inventions and new ideas just to shake things up, like the making a pinata where the bat is the actual, pinata itself, just creating subversions in what people expected, very much like Pinkie Pie, that deeper similarity between the two of them. And it got to a point where people started asking for jokes from Cheese Sandwich himself. And he got to work on these various orders, but it ended up being a little too much for him. He was just one pony, and he couldn't, create enough items to meet demand. And that's where Sandsmart came in, who decided that, hey, the best way to do this would be to create a factory where we engineered all of these, party supplies and all that good stuff. And, they built the factory, and at first Cheese was very happy about it, but, as time went on and the factory progressed, he found that he just couldn't bring himself to laugh anymore. He didn't have it in him to continue to joke and laugh around anymore like he wanted to. And honestly, it even got to the point where, Boneless no longer even acknowledged him anymore. And he's hoping that Pinkie Pie can help him develop his laugh yet again. But despite Pinkie Pie's best efforts and some actual funny moments, nothing comes from Cheese Sandwich. And he starts to think that maybe his laugh is gone forever. So Pinky starts at the basics and just trying to get Cheese to smile. But despite her best efforts, he just can't even manage that much. So they end up going to the Laugh Lab, where the R&D team works on the latest laugh technology and laugh studies. And, some pretty funny moments actually are in that. Some pretty fun times, but nothing really comes from it from Cheese Sandwich. And so Pinky decides to start, drawing up plans, developing certain things here and there. And some pretty funny gags come from it, but honestly, Cheese just can't bear to laugh. And she starts to kind of feel that maybe it's a lost cause. Maybe nothing she does will actually bring back the laughter. And, Cheese Sandwich agrees that there's nothing that can be done and that the factory just might need to just shut down. So they start packing everything up. And, Sandsmirk is actually a little bit heartbroken by this. He was really invested in this factory, but nothing really so nothing they can do if Cheese Sandwich can't laugh anymore. And so Sandsmark sees Pinkie Pie off, saying that, well, if there's nothing that you can do, then that's it. There's nothing more. And while they offer the job to Pinky to potentially, run the factory from here on out, she says that no, she's a party pony at heart. She could never be tied down to one place. And as Pinky goes to leave, Sandsmark agrees. It's just like, well, yeah, that's how Cheese Sandwich was. Originally, he was very much about the travel before he got here. Seeing the laughter in other ponies is what gave him his laugh. But Pinkie Pie realizes that's it. What they need to do is actually get Cheese Sandwich to, create a laugh in others in order to develop the laugh in himself. So she goes to Cheese and she's just like, hey, that's what we need to do. Get you to cause another pony to laugh and that will give you your laugh back. But they try the joke out on Sans Smirk and he's not really much of a laugher, so she doesn't get much out of him. And when she offers that maybe he can try out on her, it's just like, well, Pinky, you laugh at everything. I don't think anything will really come from me trying to, get you to laugh. And he starts to kind of flub up his words because he's so distraught. And that causes a laugh from one of his factory workers. And she starts to kind of get his groove back because, maybe he starts to feel like, oh, you enjoy me flubbing up the words. So he starts to kind of run with it. He rolls with it. He enjoys it. And he starts to get back into the groove. And it becomes this kind of Willy Wonka-esque joke machine. And he starts just causing the whole factory to laugh and have a good time and enjoy themselves. And he's back into the groove. And so he decides that the ultimate test of him getting his joking ability back is to test it out on Sans Smirk. And, he gets a laugh out of Sans. So Cheese Sandwich is fully back and ready to be the party pony he was always meant to be. Even if that means turning over the factory to Sans Smirk. Because while he, enjoys developing different jokes and gags, he's not really so suited for the factory setting. Sans Smirk is. So he leaves the factory to Sans and says he'll travel Equestria and send jokes back to Sans so they can develop it for the masses. And, while Sans, questions, she's like, are you sure this is how you want to do it? Cheese is assured because he feels that this is his purpose. His purpose in life was to be a traveling party pony, which Pinkie Pie, lets know. It's just like, well, that's funny. That's what I came to you in order to figure out for myself. And while Cheese does invite Pinkie over to, hey, how about we journey together and find your life purpose, together. Pinkie Pie declines, going back to her friends and explain the whole situation. And she explains that ultimately she already knew her purpose. She just needed that moment to kind of reaffirm it to her that being a party pony, spreading laughs and happiness in her home is her purpose. That's what she's all about. Just actually kind of just creating laughs wherever she can and seeing the happy faces of her friends. That's purpose enough for her. And even if it doesn't involve this big business or some lifelong job, that's fine with her. This is all good because she's the number one party pony who inspired Cheese Sandwich. And if she can inspire more, that's enough for her. A really fun and friendly episode. I loved seeing Weird Al Yankovic back again because he's always fun in and of his own right, and having him and Pinky team up together is always a great time. Honestly, if Pinky actually just went about just wandering the lands, causing jokes and all these different situations, I'd be down with that too. Pinky is a laugh giver, and I feel that she might need to spread it to the rest of Equestria at one point. But if she wants to just stick it around in her hometown, that's good too. So tell me what you thought about this episode in the comment section below. Tell me what your thoughts were. Did you enjoy the return of Cheese Sandwich? What did you think about his straight man Sans Smirk? I kind of thought they'd end up being a comedy duo, but oh well. The laugh giver and the straight man kind of situation, but that wasn't the result. But I had a few jokes at Sand Smirk's expense, and Sand Smirk was a nice guy ultimately, a real friend to Cheese Sandwich, first and foremost. And ultimately anyone could have told Pinkie Pie that, hey, your purpose is just to cause laughs wherever you go. That's your thing, and that's the biggest thing for you in life. And that should never be in question, because that's your thing. Pinkie Pie, you bring joy, and you will never stop bringing joy. Again, tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. If you will subscribe and hit the bell icon, that way you never miss out on another My Little Pony episode review. Now that we're in the final stream of episodes, we're rolling down, getting to the end. It's wrapping up, and we're tying up loose ends. So definitely subscribe so you can keep getting these reviews. And if you want to find me on social media, just Google Duuz-Diz-Din. I am everywhere, for better or for worse. And until the next video, just remember, you can always bring laughter, and you'll get laughter in return. Because if you give joy, you get it in return. That's just how laughter works. It's like a contagion. And until next time, I'm Duuz-Diz-Din, and I think it's time for me to go to bed. Bye-bye.